Welcome to our reading and reflection on this Sunday morning, on this 18th Sunday after Trinity. And our Gospel reading today comes from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2, verses 1 to 14. Once more Jesus spoke to them in parables, saying, "The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding banquet for his son. He sent his slaves to call those who had been invited to the wedding banquet, but they would not come. Again he sent other slaves, saying, 'Tell those who have been invited, look, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my fat calves have been slaughtered, and everything is ready. Come to the wedding banquet.' But they made light of it and went away, one of them to his farm, another to his business, while the rest seized his slaves, maltreated them and killed them. The king was enraged. He sent his troops, destroyed those murderers and burnt their city. Then he said to his slaves, 'The wedding is ready, but those invited were not worthy. Go therefore into the main streets and invite everyone you find to the wedding banquet.' Those slaves went out into the streets and gathered all whom they found, both good and bad, so the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to see the guests, he noted a man there. He was not wearing a wedding robe. And he said to him, 'Friend, how did you get in here without a wedding robe?' And he was speechless. Then the king said to his attendants, 'Bind him hand and foot, and throw him into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen.'" This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. Well, for planning a wedding, it can be a lot of work, and I'm sure many of you have experienced this in your own lives. What suit do you get? What bride's dress will she choose? Bridesmaids' dresses. There's a lot to determine who is going to be at the wedding, and the list goes on. There are many things involved in planning a wedding. There are many exciting times in planning a wedding, and there are stressful times in planning this as well. A lot of work is involved. And then there's the planning of the wedding list, who you're going to invite. So you have to think about this, sitting down and reflect on who you'd most like to be there. And it can be hard work, writing up the lists, filling out the invitations and addressing them and mailing them off. And it can be an anxious time also waiting for those responses to come back. And it can be even more a frustrating time when those you have invited, accepted the invitation, do not show up at your wedding. We know, however, that God is planning a wedding too. In my opinion, the greatest analogy of the church is the bride of Christ. Within that analogy exist so many great thoughts. God is preparing a wedding banquet, and he's sending out the invitations today. There is one difference though, however, between us and God, is that with God, everyone in the world is invited. There is not one person in the world he has not invited to the wedding banquet. We're not simply invited, we are asked to participate as the bride of Christ. Many girls dream for years about their weddings. Before a girl even gets married, they often know exactly what they're going to wear and how they want things done. I've seen and heard of so many great weddings, but no wedding will be as awesome as the day when which our bridegroom Jesus returns to take the bride of Jesus Christ to himself, and that is us. Amen.